All right, that was 50 ounces of cream of mushroom. Next thing we're gonna add is 2 pounds of stew meat in our crock pot. Make sure you take out those little papers. This is gonna be a super easy and delicious 4-ingredient dinner. Now I'm gonna add our brown gravy. I'm using the 30% less sodium, but you can use the regular kind if you prefer. This gravy is so delicious, but you can make your own. You can make your own cream of mushroom. That is the best part of this dinner. It is customizable. And I'm gonna actually do 2 packets of that brown gravy because I want extra gravy with my steak bites. Beautiful. Now for more seasoning, I'm gonna add 1 packet of my beefy onion soup mix. Now if you can't find the beefy onion, you can use the regular onion soup mix, but I think the beefy goes beautiful with our beef tips and cream of mushroom and all of that goodness. And you could add some fresh mushrooms, you could add some fresh onions to this if that's what you prefer, but I'm gonna keep this super simple. Now that is 4 ingredients, but we're gonna add some water too. We are going to add 4 cups of water. And that's gonna help the gravy become gravy and give us a delicious coating for our steak bits. Now it is time to mix everything together. The cream of mushroom, the chuck roast steak bits, the gravy packets, and that beefy onion soup. Oh my goodness, this smells good already. It's so potent, it's so delicious. Now you could do this with whatever cut of meat you like. I just use the chuck roast because this is gonna be cooking for a while, so it doesn't really matter what kind of meat you use. It's all gonna come out tender and juicy. All right, that looks like it's mixed well enough. We can give it another mix halfway if we need to, but we're gonna go ahead and put our lid on and we're gonna pop this on low because this is gonna cook slow and low. All right, it's been 8 hours on low. We're gonna go ahead and pop this off. You can cook it for 5 hours on high if you prefer, but before we dig in, I'm gonna bring in my Bob Evans mashed potatoes and I'm gonna get a scoop of mashed potatoes on my plate to go with that delicious meat and gravy. That looks like enough, right?
Yeah, it looks good. I want to see what's in this crock pot.
All right, well, now that we have our side ready, let's check it out. Woo!
Oh, it thickened up.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that looks perfect. Slow cooked steak and gravy. All right, it's time to dig in. And we're just gonna serve this right on top of your mashed potatoes. You could add some cornstarch to thicken it up, but I'm pretty happy with that, how it is. It's not too thin, not too thick, perfect medium. All right, it's time to dig in, get that meat and the mashed potatoes. It's a perfect bite. That meat just fell apart in my mouth. Wow, that is so good, you guys. Tender, juicy, delicious. You have to try it. All right, so that was 2 bags of my frozen chopped spinach in my little mini loaf tins. We're just gonna make sure those are nice and evenly distributed. Perfect. Now I'm coming in with my Rotel with the juices and we're gonna put half a can of our Rotel in each one of our tins. It's just gonna add some great flavor and it's gonna be so yummy. So this is my first can, I did buy 2, and this is just tomatoes with green chilies. And if you've never had Rotel before, you are really missing out. We're gonna go ahead and grab our second one. And if you don't like the green chilies, you can just do a diced tomato if that's your style, but I think the green chilies just add such a great effect. All right, so half a can per loaf tin. Perfect. Now I'm coming in with 16 ounces of cream cheese. You can use the bars, but this one is so convenient because it has the full 16 ounces in it. And we're gonna scoop our cream cheese right on top of our Rotel in our loaf tins. We wanna make sure to evenly distribute the 16 ounces in our 4 loaf tins. This is such a great appetizer. Everyone gets their individual little loaf. There's no worries about sharing, even though sharing is caring. But this is gonna be so good because it's creamy, it's delicious, it's perfect for game day, perfect for a barbecue, perfect for anything, honestly, parties. My family loves when I do these little mini appetizers. So let's make sure we get all that cream cheese in there because we want these to be nice and creamy. All right, I'm just making sure we got all of that on there. Perfect. Now I have here 2 jalapenos that I diced, and these were some seedy jalapenos, and we're just gonna put a generous amount in each one of our loaves, just like we did with all the other ingredients. We just wanna make sure to evenly distribute everything. Now, just like with the green chilies, if you don't like heat, you can totally skip these. You can make sure the seeds are out, whatever you want, that's how you can do it. These are completely customizable. All right, now I have here some sour cream, and we're gonna evenly distribute our sour cream into our tins, just step by step with all these delicious ingredients. Don't worry, once they get cooking, we will give them a generous mix, but for now, we just need to make sure that each tin has an adequate amount, and you can measure everything if that's your style, but you guys know I am not a measuring kind of person, so I'm just eyeballing everything, and you know, some of them might be a little bit different than the others, but they're all gonna taste incredible, and I can promise you that. Let's use this last little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like all of us.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now we're getting on to the best part, the cheese. We're using sharp cheddar cheese because that's my favorite, and we're going to go heavy-handed. We're just pretty much going to fill up our tins with that cheese. Oh my goodness. I have 3 bags that I'm going to split between these 4 tins, which I know might seem like a lot, but these are only 6-ounce bags, so they are not as big as a standard bag. So that's why I had to get 3 instead of 2. And obviously you can grate your own cheese, but that's also not really my style. So let's just get this cheese in here. All right, one last thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna season this up super quick. Like I said, we are gonna give them a mix after we cook them, so it doesn't really matter that the seasoning's on top because it will get nice and mixed in with all those other goodness. So we start off with some pepper. All right, now we're gonna bring in our paprika. We're gonna do a light sprinkle of that. It's gonna add some great flavor, complement all those peppers in there. Beautiful. I have some onion powder. I am just piling it on because the more seasoning, the better this will taste. That's just my take on it. But if you don't like too much seasoning, you can, you know, skip the seasoning altogether. And then the last, but certainly not least, we're gonna do some garlic salt because you need a little saltiness in this. It just is gonna add so much impact to this delicious little appetizer. All right, but that is it. This is ready for the oven. My oven is set to 375, and this is gonna be in there for 45 minutes. All right, these are bubbling, they're melted, they are ready. So before we dig in, we gotta mix everything together. Oh my goodness, the spinach, the rotel, the cheese, the cream cheese, the sour cream. This is the ultimate spinach dip. Yeah, everything you would want in a spinach dip in your individual loaf tin so that you can double dip without having to worry about anyone else. So let's make sure we get these all nice and fully mixed. All right, these are ready to go. All we need is your chip of choice. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go for this first one. Let's grab it and dig in. Ultimate spinach dip. Oh my goodness.
Is it good?
That was so good. You're gonna love them. All right, those were just my original biscuit grands that I quartered. All right, I'm gonna move that to the side and bring in my bowl. And in my bowl, I'm gonna start with 1 can of our Libby's country sausage gravy. Pierce the can so that we can get this out easy. Beautiful, right in our bowl. All right, and now we're bringing back our biscuit quarters, and we're gonna place our 8 biscuits right into our breakfast sausage. I did put on my food grade gloves so that we can keep this nice and clean. Next, I'm gonna come in with 1 pound of cooked sausage. Now, that gravy does have sausage in it, but it is never enough sausage for me and my family, so I'm adding a whole nother pound. Now I have 5 eggs that I scrambled already, and we're gonna go ahead and drizzle that into our bowl with our gravy, our biscuits, and our sausage. If you haven't been able to tell yet, we are making a breakfast. Oh yeah. And I like cheese with my biscuits and gravy, so I am gonna add this whole bag of triple cheddar Tillamook. You can grade your own cheese if that's what you prefer, but I love the Tillamook. Now we're gonna quickly season this. I have some black pepper, and we are gonna season this generously so that we can get lots of flavor in this breakfast. I have some sea salt. I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt because I do think that like the eggs and the biscuits need a touch of salt. Of course, I'm gonna do some garlic powder because that's my favorite. Ooh, that pepper is gonna make me sneeze, but it's all gonna be worth it. Lots of garlic powder. This is a big serving, okay? So do not under-season it. Now we're gonna finish this off with some onion powder. All right, and I think this is about ready, and we have our gloves on so that we can just toss everything in that gravy, in those eggs, in those biscuits, in that cheese, and that seasoning. Look how beautifully it's coming together. Oh my goodness, this is the best way to do breakfast. I absolutely love how easy and simple this comes together. Now you can do a homemade gravy if that's your style. You can make everything homemade. You can even do the biscuits homemade. But I actually really love that Libby's canned gravy. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I am a fan. All right, I think this is coming together pretty nicely. What do you think, babe?
I mean, it looks good. I mean, where's the biscuits?
Oh yeah.
It's in here, right?
Yeah. Okay, and now we're gonna bring in our bundt pan, and you do need to grease this heavy so that our breakfast doesn't stick. Make sure you get the center. I'm using the butter pan, but you can just use regular butter and some flour, but do whatever works for you and your lifestyle. All right, that looks great. Now we pour our gravy mixture into our bundt pan. Our biscuits, our cheese, our sausage. Oh my goodness, gotta make sure you get some in the front as well. Oh, this looks so good. 1 package of biscuits, 1 can of gravy, 1 package of cheese, 5 eggs. Not too many eggs, because you know they're costly right now. All right, I think I did a pretty good job distributing that. All right, and this is ready for the oven. My oven is set to 350, and this is gonna be in there for 50 minutes. All right, so this actually was in there for 1 hour, so 10 more minutes than I said. We're gonna go ahead and serve this on our platter. Let's flip this. Whew. All right, kind of get a little jiggle. Looks like it's gonna come out. Whew. All right, we had a few pieces left on our bundt pan, but that looks incredible. It smells incredible. Oh my. All right, now I have some green onion here that I'm just gonna top this with. Obviously this is optional, but I think it's gonna add some nice freshness. Perfect. Now for the moment of truth. Time to dig into our delicious gravy, biscuits, sausage, eggs, cheese breakfast. Look at that. Perfectly cooked. Oh my. I'm so excited to try this. Some of the biscuit, some eggs, some of the sausage. Perfect bite. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is so good. You guys are gonna absolutely love this. You have to try it.